Thank you so much, and greetings, graduates, platform guests, families, friends, faculty, staff, administrators, students, and all other well-wishers. It is a special privilege for me, as a former member of the Gettysburg Board of Trustees, to give remarks in honor of the 2011 graduating class. Because I work with colleges and universities are familiar places to me, but none of them are more special to me than Gettysburg College. And today, I feel like a kid bursting to tell a secret that I know. You see, I am in a wonderfully unique position to bring you all of you, a message from the graduating class. Several of these extraordinary students afforded me an opportunity to speak with them candidly about who they are, what they hope for, and what their experiences have been here at Gettysburg College. So the first thing I want to do is to tell you some of the things they told me about their experiences here at the college. They told me that the college is living its mission and giving them many opportunities to use what they've learned in the classroom in real situations of service for which they have now gotten a real sense of responsibility and passion. They told me that the college provided a safe environment for them, something of a cushion or a safety net in case they might fall while experimenting, and I just suggest we not even ask about what the experimenting was. Some even had the privilege of being able to go to faculty's homes during the holidays. They said that the faculty engendered this feeling of safety for them because they helped them select their majors, they challenged them to broaden their thinking, and they offered personal attention. They told me that administrators and staff fostered what one student cleverly termed an assisted living environment. That is, balancing the rights, the responsibilities, and the privileges of living together in community. The students said that all of you taught them how to have an open mind to experiences, and for some, the most treasured moments were in the company of professors, administrators, and staff who treated them with respect, such as peers would do. Well, graduates, as I listen to you talk about your experiences, it seems that the college has failed neither you nor the nation by producing just one more educated person. The college has taught you to think about what problems are important and why, and it has equipped you to take action as citizens of the world. I asked the graduates, I said, what message would you like your parents or guardians to hear today? And they said they wanted to give you a huge shout out and thank you, not just for the money, but for all the support you provided when they were freaking out. And freaking out, that's their words, not mine. They want you to have confidence that the college has prepared them for life. Or as one student put it, and I'd like to quote, "Mom, be proud to know that Gettysburg is helping me to become the kind of person that you are," end quote. They want you to know that they're coming home, but not to stay, so they don't want you to be sad when they visit and leave. They wanted me to tell you that their classroom experiences, along with all the opportunities for learning outside the classroom in clubs, organizations, sports, made coming to Gettysburg worth the money. The main message they wanted me to give you is, we're ready. After our time at Gettysburg, we're ready to spread our wings and do what you and the college has prepared us to do. Well, now that I've shared a message from the students, I'd like to take a few minutes to give the students a message that I hope expresses the sentiments of all of us who are so very proud of the class of 2011. As I mentioned earlier, during the course of my work, I had the opportunity to visit a number of college and university campuses, and whenever possible, I try to take time to talk with students. So I told some students that I would be here talking with you today, and I asked them, what would they like to hear if someone were making remarks at their commencement? So some of the students said to me, well, we don't want to hear any of those cliches about you can be anything that you want to be. The world is your oyster just for the taking. We want to hear the real deal. Well, I talked to some other students, and they said, we get enough bad news every day in the media. We want somebody to come and give us a message of optimism and hope. So I will try to walk that tightrope and fine line between those very distinct opinions. Certainly during the 2008 presidential election campaign, we heard a lot about hope and change, and that was over 2 years ago. But with all the things that have occurred in the world since then, to some it might seem like a lifetime ago. In the 25th year special edition of The Economist, Arianna Huffington of the Huffington Post declared that 2011 would be the year of Hope 2.0. The Economist cited a lot of other things that would happen as landmarks in 2011. For instance, China overtaking America as the biggest manufacturer, President Barack Obama turning 50, Wikipedia having its 10th birthday, Twitter its 5th birthday, and with sadness, it will mark the 10th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks. But for all of us, your graduation is the marker for 2011. Well, let me share Arianna Huffington's description or vision of Hope 2.0, and I'd like to quote her. Thousands upon thousands of acts of compassion will take place all across America, with people reaching out to their neighbors, even when they are strangers. It will look like Seth Reams, a man who lost his job, and while looking for work, he started a website called We've Got Time to Help. The website connects people with extra time on their hands, usually people who've been laid off, with those in need of help. Hope 2.0 will look like all the people discovering that by helping others, even when they themselves are suffering, they end up improving their own lives. It will look like Americans accepting that democracy is not a spectator sport, and that no fundamental change can be accomplished without a movement demanding it. As Frederick Douglass put it, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Huffington writes, so if America's politicians continue to lead by sticking a finger in the wind to see which way it's blowing before deciding what to do, Hope 2.0 is about changing the direction of the wind. It's about changing the direction of the wind, end quote. Graduates, I believe that your Gettysburg education has prepared you to change the direction of the wind. And talk about change, how many of you have seen the movie Limitless? Wow, you've been studying. Let me tell you a little bit about it. Limitless is a movie that came out last month, and I know you're all going out to see it right after graduation. It was all about a miracle drug in the form of a little pill called NZT. And this little pill could give you unmatched and phenomenal intellectual and physical powers. Just imagine, a little pill that could work in 30 seconds and have you see the world in an enhanced dimension. It would give you access to all the information you had ever experienced and give it to you in a coherent and useful way. For example, it gave one powers to learn something as complicated as how to play the stock market to advantage and therefore becoming wealthy very quickly. You could learn a foreign language in a day, even while jogging. You could recall fight scenes, and if you needed to protect yourself from a gang, it would give you energy and agility to use any technique in fighting that you had ever seen, from karate to boxing. You know, but even with all that, there were downsides and there were side effects. Number one, there was a limited quantity of NZT. Number two, the pill could be lost or stolen. And number three, ultimately, it was lethal. It could kill you. Well, graduates, you have the equivalent of the no side effects NZT pill with all you have learned at Gettysburg College through classes, experiences outside of class, and extra and co-curricular programs, through service, and through your practice in leadership. You leave here with all you need to be powerful leaders, not in an abstract sense, but natural leaders, living in community where leadership is everyone's job. Everyone is needed and knows when to lead and when to follow. You told me that you have a vision of your future and you have the ability to use your every skill that you've learned here to make that vision a reality. And so when I spoke with some of you, I asked you, what label or name would you assign to your generation? I told you that the class that began college in the year 2000 was called the Millennials because they were the first class in the new century. And these students were something like those students that Levine and Curitan might have described in their book, When Hope and Fear Collide. They might be called the transition generation because they were straddling two worlds, one dying and one being born. And some, have called you the technology generation or the digital generation, the connected generation, the privileged and the lucky generation. But you told me that if you had to give your generation a name, it would be the dedicated generation because you put all of your efforts into everything you do, and you simply use technology to help you accomplish your goals. In my conversations with you, it was apparent that you have the vision and the tools to be the unstoppable generation. You have big hopes and even bigger dreams. With confidence, you said to me, if something threatens to thwart your efforts, you will persist. If you're told you cannot do something, your first response is, says who? You told me that you're prepared to work for the common good, prepared to safeguard the earth, prepared to share resources, and prepared to advocate for justice and the rights of people everywhere. But are you prepared for the job interview? I was reading The Color of Money in the Washington Post about some of the mistakes those new to the work world had made during their interviews, and I just want to share a couple of those with you. These are things you should not do when you go on a job interview. One, don't wear a hat that says, take this job and shove it. Okay. Yep, somebody did that. Don't take your parents to the interview with you. It may have crossed your mind, but just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't tell the interviewer that your favorite pastime is to walk around in your pajamas all day and do nothing. This kind of honesty could seriously decrease your chances of getting a job. And finally, as caring and as compassionate as you are, don't hug the interviewer when the interviewer concludes. Now, I know that some of you want to assure your parents that you will be all right even though your major may not be as clearly connected to a specific career as they may have hoped. So I'm going to give you some words from Parker Palmer that might help you. Parker Palmer is a writer, teacher, and activist, and this is what he said. You are doing what you can't not do for reasons that you cannot necessarily explain to anyone else. And you may not fully understand why yourself, but the future you're straining toward is compelling. To me, you are preparing to use the tools you have earned to commence your life's journey. And the operative word there is your life journey. I share this truth from Parker Palmer about the journey. He says that some journeys are direct and some are circuitous. Some are heroic and some are fearful and muddled. But every journey, honestly undertaken, stands a chance of taking you toward the place where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. And to me, this is the ultimate purpose of life and the ultimate happiness. We often hear people say that you, today's students, are wired differently. Well, I am so glad that you are. According to John Zogby in his book, The Way We'll Be, he said that you live and think globally. You live more gently and collegially on the planet. Embracing diversity is a habit of mind, and you are strong, decisive, smart, attractive, and self-confident. In fact, you are the most outward-looking and accepting generation in American history. You told me that when you came to college here, you just took it over, becoming engaged and involved in everything. And you've been through some hard things together. You developed strong bonds and held one another accountable. And Gettysburg mission of globalization and service has become your own. And I, for one, cannot wait to see what you will do next when you leave this place. Well, when our family attended our son's graduation years ago, Bill Cosby was the commencement speaker. And his message to the students was, don't go. His message was, stay in college where you don't have those responsibilities. But with your quality education, your strong sense of community, the lifelong friends you have made here, and your sense of social change and justice. I say run. Run out into the world. The world needs you now more than ever. Congratulations, Gettysburg class of 2011.